And something that I speculated just after the news of P. Will went down, we now know that Patrick Williams will be undergoing surgery and miss the remainder of the season. We'll talk a little bit about that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content. So the Chicago Bulls announced today that Patrick Williams, who has been sidelined since January 25th with a bone edema in his left foot, he underwent a routine imaging thing, which found some stress reaction in his foot. He will undergo surgery and be out the remainder of the season. This should not be a surprise to anybody who's been following me in my channel. I basically said since the Patrick Williams situation came out that it's probably going to end in him being shut down. Now, I did have some doubt on whether it was going to be surgery or not, but it seems like the Bulls, Patrick Williams, the medical staff decided to go ahead and have that surgery in the season. And this is now the Bulls losing their second player this season to foot surgery after Zach LaVine underwent season-ending foot surgery as well. Now, the bone edema is something that can be recovered from. We know that. I've talked about that. While the injury is extremely painful, it's not an injury that's anywhere near being career-threatening typically. And so because of that, you can expect Patrick Williams to get that surgery now, alleviate what they need to alleviate, go through the rest of the part of this season, go through the offseason. Patrick Williams probably will be ready by training camp. But the questions that now this arises for the future is for what Patrick Williams' contract extension is going to look like with the Chicago Bulls, considering, the Bulls could have offered him a 5-year deal, well over $100 million. We all kind of expected that not to be the case with his level of play and an injury, but now undergoing season-ending surgery, that negotiation table between Patrick Williams and his representation in the Chicago Bulls, the Bulls are going to have a considerable leg up, considering that, yes, while they still like Patrick Williams and the potential that's in the 24-year-old forward, and the fact that some changes may happen to the roster or maybe they got to rely on him a little bit more, it still comes down to this simple fact is that Patrick Williams has not yet lived up to the expectations around the hype where he was drafted at. Now, that's not all on Patrick Williams. I want to be clear on that. I personally don't hold it against that. I do think that Patrick Williams has more than enough time left at being only 22 years old to where he can develop into a solid NBA player. But the fact is that has not happened yet. He does defensively solid. He has stepped up as far as his ability to take open shots, his willingness, I should say, to take open shots. And I overall hope that this injury doesn't affect Patrick Williams at all with that mental of being aggressive like we saw in the month of December that kind of fell off in January. But now Patrick Williams, is going to that negotiation table. The Bulls are going to have the leg up in regards to this performance, in regards to the recent injury and some of the doubt around that. And I will not expect now Patrick Williams to sign a longer-term deal. I think we could see Patrick sign a 2 or 3 year deal. The Bulls, to me, will be crazy to do anything less than a 2-year deal plus a 1-year player or team option, regardless of which way they can make that happen. But it's probably going to be more around the money that Kobe White got, which is about $12 million annual average value on that contract. Maybe he can get a little bit more because of his youth factor. He's a little bit younger than Kobe, signed in that time. He's been a starter the whole entire time, basically, as well. So maybe there's some of that could be said in that contract. But $12 to $15 million is probably where I'd expect Patrick Williams to sign for. And that's going to be, like I said, a shorter-term deal so that he can get back into free agency earlier and try to recoup some of that money he's going to miss on this deal just by the nature of the injury and things like that. So that's something to look out for. We'll cross that bridge when we get into it in the offseason. But this now puts the Chicago Bulls power forward position in a situation for basically the whole season. There was some hope that maybe Patrick Williams could be cleared in a week or two and come back. That's not going to happen. Torrey Craig could be out up to 4 weeks, which would put him back mid-March and being able to return to this team mid to late March with about 12 to 15 games left on the season. So the Bulls are going to be playing small considerably here from now to the end of the season. Terry Taylor, Julian Phillips, probably going to get a little bit more run. We saw Julian get 18 minutes in last night's game, leading the Chicago Bulls in minutes off the bench. So maybe that's a sign that Billy Donovan's going to be open to that. Talked about the quote from Billy Donovan saying that Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips will be in the rotation going forward. We just added Ernlop Bateem to the roster also. there's maybe a chance of bringing up Adama Sanogo as well to maybe get some spot minutes at the center and stuff with, playing Drum and Vooch more together in certain games. So we'll end up seeing what the Bulls do as far as on the court for this. Batum, who is a small forward shooting guard, does not really project to get power forward minutes, but we know that Alex Caruso, Billy Donovan's very comfortable playing and starting him there, so wouldn't be surprised if that continues. But let me know what you guys think on both what this means for the future of Patrick Williams and the present with this time with the Chicago Bulls. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See you right if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.